Hi, welcome everyone to Pop Cult X episode 107. We are your hosts, Gabriel and Danny. As every week, we bring you news in the pop cult world. Or wait, not pop, pop culture.
Pop cult world is fine.
Yeah, we talk about pop culture. So let's go ahead and get this episode started with some news. I was just at a concert the other night. I went to go see The Cure on Saturday night. Pretty good concert. I was out on the lawn seat, so I had not paid for front row seats or anything like that. I was out in the distance, but it was a pretty good, enjoyable time. It kind of is launching the summer concert series. Mm-hmm. Everyone's on tour right now. Beyonce, Taylor Swift, Madonna. I pretty much everyone seems like they're out on tour right now. Which, funny enough, I came across this article in CNN about a Taylor Swift fan that went to great lengths to be able to go see Taylor Swift. Now, he wasn't able to get tickets like many other people. He was unable to secure a ticket to her tour, which is called the Eras Tour, the traditional way. So he devised a plan to get into Swift's concert in a different way. So he got an appointment, he got a job working as a security guard at the Swift show in Nashville at the Nissan Stadium so that he could attend. And it made me wonder, what lanes would you go to see one of your favorite bands, and who would it be? So would there be anyone that you would try to sneak into if you couldn't get tickets? Would you sneak into? Would you try to get a job as a security guard? Would you hop over a fence? What would you do to get into the concert? And then what band would motivate you to do that?
That's a great question. Goodness. The lengths I would go to, if I tried he did it legally, right? So yeah. It's not illegal. He got a job there to go. So that's still legal. Sure, he might have ditched his work assignment to go watch it, but I don't know if that was the case or not, but he still did it legally. So within the parameters of legal sense, I guess if I would get a job as a security guard to go watch my favorite band, why not? Yeah. Hey, get in there, and once you're in there, you're working. Bye. I didn't really need this job in a way, so but illegal. Apart from legal methods, I don't know what I would do. I'm a little bit of a square, I think. So I think I'd stick to the more, if I can't get a ticket type thing. Maybe I'd learn an instrument and try and get on the undercard there, or try and join the band. That'd be kind of fun to do that way. But now what band? That's another great question, because I love so many bands. I could think of doing it for like the Killers. That'd be fun. I really want to see them, especially when they come here in September to Las Vegas for the iHeart Radio Festival. I'm trying to get press passes for Pop Cult X so we can get in, so I can get in there and watch it. There you go. See, what would I do? I get press passes utilizing our platform here on Pop Cult X. So thank you everyone out there for giving us this platform so I can go watch a show. There you go. Another band, Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters, yeah. Speaking of Foo Fighters, they're actually in the news as well. Because let me grab my trusty little notes here. They found their new drummer after, obviously, we all know about the horrible death of drummer Taylor Hawkins, but they just had a concert called the Foo Fighters Preparing Music for Concert.
Yes.
Live stream event that previewed the group's 11th studio album, but here we are. This last Sunday, the band introduced studio drummer Josh Freese as Hawkins' successor. So Freese is a veteran drummer, and he's played with a bunch of bands, Nine Inch Nails, The Offspring, Sting, Weezer, among many others. And he also played with the Foo Fighters during the London tribute show for Hawkins in 2022, even playing on the late drummer's very own drum kit. So good news for Foo Fighters fans, because, as much as we were a fan of Taylor as well, and really mourning the loss of a really great drummer and member of the band, it's good to see that they're still continuing with their music, and I'm sure Taylor would want to have it that way.
Oh yeah,
I don't think any musician would want to see their band disassemble or kind of disintegrate if they weren't around. So really good news for Foo Fighter fans. I was lucky enough to kind of see one of their last shows with Taylor.
Hmm.
And so I'm pretty fortunate, but I can't wait to see them again. Hopefully they'll be coming my way very soon, and I'll be able to see them. Now I don't know if I'll do anything illegal to see them, but short of like maybe I think I'm too old to like jump over a fence or try to sneak in. But if they truly are a band that I would want to see, I'm willing to pay the money for a group that I really love like that.
Would you
Other
buy a ticket from a scalper?
I I've been very fortunate, and most of the concerts that I want to see, I've gotten, the pre-sale and
Hmm.
gotten all, jumping through all the hoops. But I would probably try to say that I would not, just because I hate scalpers. I hate that they take away tickets from fans and for money. So I would try my best not to do that.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. I mean, I even hate like Ticketmaster surcharge prices. They're like almost just as bad as scalpers. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Well, so I was out this weekend checking out The Cure at a concert. What were you up to?
Well, before I get into that, the Cure. So you said you sat in lawn seats. Did it have
Yeah.
more of a festival type feel sitting in that area?
So it was actually really chill. Like for The Cure, which is obviously a band that has a lot of Gen X fans. So there was a lot of
Hmm.
people my age and even older. Um, I felt very comfortable. We rented lawn chairs. So
Okay,
instead of just sitting on the grass, we were in like some
that's
really
cool.
comfortable lawn chairs. We took up space. We ran into some friends. So we saved us some spots for our friends. So we had like a little bit of a group there and got our drinks. We got there super early. So we were right in the center, perfect view
Nice.
of the band. And it was kind of nice. It was a lot cheaper than paying tickets up front. I mean, we saved
Hmm.
probably $600, if not more, by doing this, and it was pretty enjoyable. They sang a ton of songs. They
Yeah.
probably played about 25 songs.
Wow.
It was, I mean, granted, some of their songs are only like a minute and a half to 2 minutes long, but their set was super long. They had two encores. Each encore had about six or seven songs.
Wow.
So
No.
we got our money's worth for sure.
What's your favorite Cure song?
God.
Let's
I don't know,
narrow it
probably
down. Top
maybe
three.
like Just Like Heaven, Love
Hmm.
Song, Boys Don't Cry.
Okay.
There's a ton, Lullaby. They have so many
Oh
good.
yeah.
It Burn.
Burn
Uh,
is one of my favorite. Yeah.
yeah, they played it. I was surprised they actually played it. Um, just I mean, they have hit after hit. They literally played about 25 really, really great songs.
Did they
And
play
some
a Forest?
I don't remember if they did.
That's what okay.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough. We're old.
I did enter in a contest to try to win a signed set list by them, but I unfortunately did not win.
Ah, well, then you would have known if they had sing that day.
I would have known for sure. You would have seen it posted somewhere on my wall, on my record player.
Well, while you were out enjoying a nice concert, I caught up on some movies that you, I think, had previously seen. I finally watched the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Oh,
I
nice.
finally watched Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I watched a few other ones, but I don't recall what they were now, so they must not have stood out too much for me. But those movies were fun. They
Yeah.
were all right. They were good. They're just
Of the two, which one did you like better?
hmm. See, it's hard because I like both of those growing up playing the games, the
Yeah.
tabletop game of Dungeons and Dragons, and of course Mario Brothers. I think I would edge towards Mario Brothers because it had
Uh,
more nostalgia for me with seeing
yeah.
the different outfits that he wore, the different abilities, the different powers, the different characters. I was like, oh, I remember that. I remember that. Of course, then the music and the soundtrack hits, and it's like just bringing me back into when I first started playing video games on my old Nintendo. And so, yeah, I'm gonna hedge slightly towards Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah. I'd have
Slightly.
I'd have to go towards Dungeons and Dragons. Um, did you get the Easter egg of? Did you do remember the Saturday morning cartoon of Dungeons and Dragons? First of all,
I do
and did
recall
you
that.
see the Easter egg of the kids playing the cartoon when they were in the maze?
Um, don't recall that as much. No.
Yeah, so there was a really cool Easter egg. They had people dressed up just like the cartoon characters
Okay.
Saturday morning. So you had the little blonde boy with like the club, you had
Hmm.
the purple cloak, the other girl with the staff.
Okay,
So
I missed that.
that
That's
was
cool.
pretty cool. Yeah, it happened really quickly, but it was a really cool Easter egg because I love the Saturday morning cartoon too.
Yeah, I remember watching that briefly. I don't remember as much as I remember like He-Man or stuff like that, but I
Yeah.
do remember a little bit. I remember playing more of like the computer games like Neverwinter Nights, Baldur's Gate. So when they mentioned all these names of places, I was like, "Oh, I remember that. I remember
Yeah.
that." So that was really fun to, just relive those moments and those of yesteryear.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I definitely would recommend Dungeons and Dragons to people. Super Mario, I know everyone is like really into it because of nostalgia purposes, but I just didn't think it was all that great. Like I don't know, I just couldn't get into it, but Dungeons and Dragons I felt was really interesting. And I think that if you're not a fan of Dungeons and Dragons going into it, like if you didn't play the game, if you're
Hmm.
not like
Hmm.
that nerd, you could still enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, whereas Super Mario, you definitely have to be a fan in order to enjoy the movie, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think too, like who the target audience really is for Super Mario Brothers is going to be like kids, right?
Yeah.
And so most of the kids don't remember the game that much. Or at least they probably just remember from what their parents might have told them.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I can see what you're saying. It's I can kind of get what you're saying. I mean, I liked Jack Black's performance as Bowser and his
Yeah.
singing there. I thought that was hilarious. He did
That
a
was the
great job
best
on
part
that.
for
Yeah.
sure.
But Dungeons and Dragons, I really enjoyed it. I think the Michelle Rodriguez was great in it. She was
Mhm.
fantastic as a warrior barbarian character. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Yeah. Nice. So outside of that movie, what else have you gotten yourself into?
Besides trouble, no, trouble with packing. We're in the midst of packing because we're moving, so everything's been just like put on hold. But I did get to the comic book store, of course, because I couldn't pass that up, and I picked up the newest Avengers run that had just come out
Oh,
with
nice.
by Jed McKay, who I know Jed McKay's writing from when he wrote some of the Moon Knight series. And it's really fun storyline so far. It's really cool. So Captain Marvel's building up a new Avengers squad, and it shows her going and recruiting them. So it's been really cool so far.
Yeah, nice. So while you pack, I've moved quite often, not often as some people, but I've moved enough where I like to throw music on while I'm packing and kind of turn the radio up while I
Hmm.
have to do that. One of the bands that I'm currently listening to is a band from Scotland called the Twilight Sad. Now they actually opened for The Cure, which I just mentioned that I saw. And they're a really cool alternative rock band from Scotland. I've been listening to them pretty much since I saw them on Saturday. I'm pretty cool to listen. I would recommend them if you're a fan of music like the Cure, alternative rock.
Hmm.
What have you been listening to?
Really, I've been listening to a lot of Vampire Weekend, like I mentioned in our last episode. They have a few albums that I didn't even realize they had released. So it's like been hearing new music for me, and it's been awesome. I really like their sound. Um, just that, really, I've just been playing that on repeat. What else have I been listening to? Nothing else really, just Vampire Weekend. So
Nice.
I've been
That's
playing a
great.
lot of Marvel Snap on my phone because I packed up my other video game console. So I've been relying on my phone to keep me entertained during,
Get your fix.
downtime. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So if anyone out there is playing Marvel Snap and you come across me, be sure to come back to this video and leave a comment. I have it. I think my screen name on there is Danny at Pop Cult X, so people know
Nice.
it's me. So if you play against me, come find me back on here and let's chat about it. And you can tell everyone how you completely destroyed me at the game.
You kicked the co-host ass of Pop Cult X.
Yeah, you can go tweet about it. Go find us on Twitter, and you can let everyone know that I beat him down. I just played a game. So a card that was taken away for it because it was having technical difficulties, but they just brought back was Kitty Pryde,
Oh,
right?
nice.
And her ability is she goes in, you can play the card, then every time it comes back to you and it doubles its power or it gets powered up. But
Nice.
they put it in a zone called Shuri's Lab. So that location doubles the power each time. So if you can imagine, they play it, it gets plus whatever, then it gets doubled each time it goes there. So one card got like over 150 power points.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah, that person. Thanks for doing that to me.
Nice. Nice. Very cool. Well, outside of that, I have been reading some other comic books. What have I been reading? I got actually it's not a comic book, but it's a book by Alex Segura.
Oh, you picked
About
that up. Okay.
in Spider-Man
Hmm.
2099 Dark Tomorrow. So I just got that in the mail. Gonna
Nice.
start reading that pretty soon. You had the opportunity to talk to Alex Segura on
Yeah.
Pop Text, probably what about a couple months ago?
2 months ago or so, we chatted about that book a little bit, and it's really cool. I got an advanced copy of it. I read through a little bit of it. You'll enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Especially
Kind
with
of a good,
oh, go
like
ahead.
a good preview of the new Miles Morales movie because it
Exactly.
has Spider-Man 2099 in it. So definitely kind of getting stoked about that.
Yeah, and that looks great. I mean, the movie itself looks like it's broken into two parts, I think. So there's going to be part one and part two, but it
Yeah.
looks like it's going to be very expansive. I can't wait to see. Although you might have been, like we said, played timed out or not timed out, but over the multiverse type thing. But this
Yeah.
looks like it's a really great storyline, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I don't think I'm ready to see Spider-Man 2099 as like a villain or as an anti-hero yet. Um,
Okay.
because he's like a
Yeah.
Latino superhero, so like I don't want to see him as a villain, but so I'm really interested to see how they go about that.
Right. I mean, if you think he might be like the anti-hero or the
Yeah.
antagonist in the first part or whatnot, but what's he trying to prevent? That's who's the main villain, right? So I'm
Yeah.
sure we'll learn more when it comes out, and so it's exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it. I'm such a big fan of the animation style that they
Yeah.
have. It's such a nice visual treat to be able to sit down and watch it.
Hmm.
It actually reminds me, I probably have to go check it out, like rewatch it fairly soon before I go to the movie theater to see it.
Yeah. One other thing that I've been watching that we haven't talked about is the final season of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Have you been caught up with that or watching it at
I
all?
haven't been watching it. I don't know why. It just hasn't. I don't know. Like I just haven't been watching it. But is it good? Do I need to go back and catch up?
Yeah, I think the final episode is either been released or it's going to be released at the end of this week. So the final episode of the series finale. It's been really good. It's this season. It's done some unexpected time jumps.
Mm.
So it starts out like in the 90s. We see the kids, Maisel's kids, all grown up and what they're
Oh
doing in
wow.
their life. Then it goes back and forth. So it's been really interesting to see those time jumps and get to learn how these characters ended up. Like so they Ethan, the boy, her Mrs. Maisel's boy, what he does, what her daughter does. It's really been really cool in that regard. But I really this past week or the latest episode that I saw featured a performance by Hank Azaria,
Oh
and he
nice.
plays a TV comedy star. He just blew it out of the water. It was phenomenal. And I know I'm a big Hank Azaria fan from like he's on like Hello Tomorrow, of course, The Simpsons, and all his work, but this was just phenomenal. I would love to see a spin-off of that character in another Amazon Prime show. His name is like Danny Stevens. And not just because it's Danny, but because it's a really good, interesting storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that he's like one of like the underrated actors. He's
Mm-hmm.
like such a good actor, not only as a voice actor, but a character actor as well. He's just a
Yeah.
very well-rounded, talented person. So, yeah, it'd be cool to see him get his own show.
Yeah. So go watch it. It's worth it.
Yeah, I'll do that right now. No.
Bye, everyone. We're going to go watch Mrs. Maisel.
Yeah, I definitely have to finish it out. I am curious. I do love when they have a series finale and they show you how the character ends up. Like I like
Mm-hmm.
my loose ends tied up. I don't want to speculate on how they go. Like, especially if they do a good job. Like one of my favorite shows was 6 Feet Under, and they did that. They did like a future, what happens to the characters in the future, and
Yeah.
it was so well done, and they did so like it was such good like justice for the characters that I left happy and fulfilled that the series ended in such a way. So hopefully Miss Maisel will do that as well.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. I like them the loose ends tied up. I think like Parks and Recreation did that. Parks and Rec, where they, um, they fast forward in time and show you how everyone played out in their lives and everything. So that's really cool. But I also do like, I don't know if I like it, but I like seeing people get angry about shows that just cut off, or movies like think like Inception, right? Where you
Yeah.
don't know if the top stops spinning or not because it cuts right away. Think about like Sopranos, how it just boom cuts off, and I like it just seeing people's reaction to that. Like what? I mean,
Yeah.
I could care either way, but it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Well, The Sopranos being one of the shows that I was really disappointed in how it ended. Yeah, and that's a good example of like what I don't like.
Hmm.
Both of those shows being on the HBO, so they give good examples of like how you can end a series. Some more successful than the others, I think, in my opinion. But
Like, what would you say was like would be the most or was the most like anticipated series finale that maybe lived up to its hype?
well, for me personally, it was 6 Feet Under. I was
Okay,
such a big fan of the show, and the ending was perfect. The whole montage of what happens to the characters in the future was set to a song by Sia called "Breathe Me," and it was before Sia was really big.
okay.
But I was a fan of this particular song, and it was just so perfect. I mean, it's so good. It's almost worth watching, even if you don't know the show, because it's like it's like a watching a family from beginning to end, and
Mm.
uh I don't know, it's just so emotional, and they did such a good job of it. It was just really a great job. They did such a that's my ultimate favorite series finale of all time. What about you? Do you have one?
I'm sure I do, but I can't think of one. I mean, I liked Parks and Rec, like I said. I think
Yeah.
a show on HBO called Silicon Valley. But, I didn't really like. Did I like how that ended? See, now I have to go back and watch series finales to see which one I did like.
Yeah.
Um, None, I guess, really are memorable for me. They just like,
Yeah.
okay, now I just get to go back to my regular life.
Yeah, I think that's what speaks to me so much about how 6 Feet Under did such a great job. Is like I still will go on the internet and watch the ending because it's such a good ending, and I won't do that for like Seinfeld or
Hmm.
uh, I think MASH was another one that was like a really big for like our parents' generation, like
Yeah.
the series finale.
Hmm.
Um,
It was like
or
the highest watched show, I think, at the time. Yeah.
yeah, or like, maybe Friends or uh I can't really think of anyone else that did a really good job of ending their series. I think American Horror Story does a good job of like wrapping up their shows. Even though they're all kind of interconnected, it has like a definite beginning and an end.
Hmm.
I kind of like that about those shows. So maybe that's another good example of a show that ends
But
their series well.
could you compare like American Horror Stories, which is like an anthology series, right, with that are connected, but they're only one season, to like
Yeah.
a show like Will and Grace, which had like multiple seasons, and then when it came to end it, although I will say Will and Grace, since it got rebooted, I did like the second ending of Will and Grace better than the first one.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I kind of couldn't get into their second series reboot and then their series finale of the first. I couldn't get into it. I really liked the first series. I really liked the show, but um, sometimes when something is good, I think it's best not to go back and revisit it. And for me, that's kind of how Will and Grace was.
Okay, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was
Yeah.
good, it was funny. We had our laughs, we had our moments. Just leave it as it is.
So you're saying that the demand for it should have been left on the wayside because that's why
Yeah.
they brought it back, right? Because people wanted it.
Or like make a movie. Like I sometimes I like that when they make a movie for a TV show, it's like a one-off like movie. Um that's good, but I don't know if that we actually need a new series
Yeah.
for it. And then
I hear
sometimes
you.
they can spoil like the actual characters. They can do a bad job with it.
That's true. Yeah, they could kind of ruin it for people who love the first part of it. Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
What about you guys out there on YouTube or the podcast world? What are some of your favorite series finales of TV? Let us know in the comments or find us on social media. Tell us what your thoughts are so we can go watch them and tell you how good, right you are or wrong you are.
Yeah. Hit us up on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all the social media.
All of them. For now, yeah. All of them for now until I get tired of doing it and then we'll just go to one. Well, that's all I got for this week, Gabe.
Yeah, same. I think it was a short but sweet week.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you all next week. We have a fun little interview planned for next week, so make sure you come back, and we'll see you guys then.
Stay safe.